I'm the Flash.
See, that's what you don't get. When I put this ring on my finger, it wasn't just about you or me anymore. It was about us. You are not the Flash, Barry. We are.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5. So in yesterday's video, we went over some apparent information coming out about the episodes of The Flash filmed so far for Season 5. So that would be episodes 1 through to 5. And I will leave that video linked in the description down below if you haven't seen it, because yesterday YouTube was essentially broken and didn't publish videos correctly or properly, so you can go check that out if you want. So yeah, check the description for that link. But from that information drop, the poster also said that there will be some 100th episode details coming out as well in the next day or so, and well, they've hit the web now. But of course, do take these with a grain of salt. Very important to keep in mind that these aren't confirmed, but it is always good to have a chat about them and give our differing or just different thoughts about them. But speaking of thoughts, do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below and what piece of information excites and just intrigues you the most. And of course, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show support if you are hyped for The Flash, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. So to start off this information drop, we have Tom Cavanagh directing. Now, this isn't news. We already knew that Tom Cavanagh, who of course plays the various versions of Harrison Wells throughout the show's run, will be directing the 100th episode of The Flash. But the poster, who, posted this on Reddit, did say that they were including some already known information just in case people, not in the loop came across the post. So yeah, that's why it's here. But I think it is great that they gave the directing responsibilities to someone like Tom Cavanagh, someone who has been with the show since day one. So I just think that's a really nice touch. But up next we have, will serve as mid-season finale, but episode 7 will be the real MS finale, so I think that means mid-season finale. Story for 100th episode will be standalone. So this season on The Flash, as well as Supergirl and Arrow, we will be having a bit of a change up, where episode 9 will be the crossover episode, rather than the episode 8 for all of the shows. But due to that, episode 8 will be the actual mid-season finale now for all of those shows, which I think makes sense, as in previous seasons, especially the last 2 seasons, I have always found it a bit weird how they've had the over-the-top epic crossover stories, and then we just go back to the shows the next week, and everything just feels a bit, well, tame in comparison. So I think this is the right move, and I can see them doing this for seasons ahead. But of course, seeing that episode 8 of this season of The Flash will be the 100th episode, you probably wouldn't want that being the episode to leave off the main story. So this is pretty cool news that the 100th episode will essentially be a standalone episode with its own, story. I think the only issue with this is whether it ends in a weird way and then we go into the crossover the next week and things just don't work that well, at least flow on that well. But you would think they wouldn't leave the 100th episode in a weird way and would have no strange cliffhanger or anything like that. My guess is that episode 7 could involve a first proper showdown with Cicada, and there could be a big reveal in regards to that storyline, and then we move into the 100th episode week, have that story, and then move into the crossover before we have the Christmas and New Year's break. But up next we have no final confirmation on which exact characters or actors are returning, but a RF, or Reverse Flash, will take part. CGI Savitar will appear, not that physical suit. So of course, this is probably the hot part, or the most interesting part of this information drop. Maybe something else later on in the video could compete with it, I don't know. But they do state that there is no final confirmation on actors and characters coming back, but of course that could change in the next month or so as they move into filming for this 100th episode. But apparently one of the Reverse Flashes will be returning. So by this, I guess they just mean that either the proper Eobard Thawne, who is played by Matt Letcher, could return, or it could be the Wells-looking Eobard Thawne played by the director of the episode, that being Tom Cavanagh, could be back. Just like we saw in the Crisis on Earth X crossover from last season. I think it would be cool to see Matt Letcher come back, saying we haven't had him on The Flash for a while. He was on Legends, but we haven't seen him on Flash in ages. And we had the Wells Reverse Flash last season, so he's been there, pretty recently. And also, he did leave off on the whole, oh, you never know what face I'll be in next, or whatever that thing was. So maybe it's oh, I'll be back as my normal Eobard Thawne next time, or something like that. But the next part is pretty interesting, but it is easy for them to do, so I can see why they would have this happen. And that is the part about Savitar coming back, but not in the form that we saw him in, the last third or so of Season 3. Which was with that physical suit where, well, it wasn't CGI. Instead, it will be, well, the CGI suit or version of the character which we saw for the majority of Season 3 in, the first 2/3. Due to this, you would have to say his role wouldn't be that big at all and would just be a cameo, basically. Maybe a couple of minutes if we're lucky. Now, most of you would know I'm not the biggest fan of Savitar. I liked him at the beginning, but, well, basically in maybe the last quarter of the show, and especially the last couple, like maybe 3 or 4 episodes of season 3, it just all fell apart. But I wouldn't mind a short, cool cameo from the CGI version of the character. That'd be pretty damn cool. Next up we have rough draft of episode is 1 part time travel, 1 part multiverse, and 1 part Speed Force. So with the multiverse and Speed Force parts, I can sort of see what they would do with this. In regards to the multiverse, they could travel to Earth 2, where Jesse Quick is, then Earth 3, where Jay Garrick is, and then even have like 1 or 2 more Earths involved where we could meet, speedsters from over there, which could even be like doppelgangers of already existing characters, which would be, pretty interesting. And then in regards to the Speed Force, that could be where that CGI Savitar shows up again, and we could even get some other, speedsters showing up in there. That would be pretty sick. But in regards to the time travel, I'm not too sure what, could take place there. I think if they were to go into time travel, it would be forward, so into the future, but not backwards into the past, as we all know that the issues that the speedsters on the show have faced after traveling back in time, like we're dealing with one now with Nora Allen in season 5. So you would have to think that, that would be avoided. But I do like the idea of incorporating all of these elements into the episode as, well, they are like main traits and features of the show, so why not embrace them and just celebrate them? Next up we have, could be the most expensive episode the show has made apart from the pilot back in season 1, depends on actor availability. And wow, this is actually insane. But when you think about it, there would be a ridiculous amount of stuff going on in this episode if all of the stuff mentioned in this post comes true, as well as a couple of things we will mention after as well. But as they do say, it does depend on actor availability, and that's really the thing that will drive up the cost for the episode. Bringing all these characters back whose actors possibly won't be on contracts with the show currently, which would mean you are paying them for an individual episode appearance, which is a tad more than an appearance while they're on a contract. And when you have a decent amount of returning characters, well, things just add up. But if it's expensive, I would say it's worth it. You need to spend some money to throw a good party, and that is exactly what the 100th episode is. It's one big party, one big celebration. And the second final thing to go over is, I know the Zoom suit is in Vancouver, but I am unsure of whether it just stayed here after season 2, or if it has been brought back for a reason. So yeah, I guess it is fair that if we are expected to get both Reverse Flash and Savitar returning for the 100th episode, that we also get the main Speedster villain from back in season 2 returning to join the party as well. Now, I'm not an expert on the suits for the show, like do they just stay in Vancouver where they film the shows even if the character has died or isn't, on the show and so like the suit's not in use? I thought they would go back to Los Angeles or something, to be put in storage or even display or something like that. But as I said, I'm not an expert. But as the poster says, even they don't know if the suit's been moved up there or was always there to begin with, but they just know that it is in Vancouver currently. So I guess this will just be one of those things where we will have to wait and see if he actually just, does show up again. The thing with Zoom in particular is that they don't need Teddy Sears back. They can just use a stunt double and then even just reuse lines from season 2, or even just get Tony Todd, who voiced Zoom back in season 2, to come back, record a few lines for use in the episode. I doubt he'd be in there for too long, so just a couple of lines, so that could work. But yeah, I liked Zoom, so I wouldn't mind seeing him return. It'd be pretty awesome. And now we have the final piece, or the finale piece if you want to call it, of information in this drop, which is, expect a new Speedster. That's all I will say on that. Now, there are a couple of possibilities or theories around this, but I think the most suitable and likely to happen would be that this new Speedster would be the new Speedster on Earth 3 that Jay Garrick was training. Now, we know that Speedster is a female, and I think the general consensus amongst like the fan base of those that are familiar with characters from the comics is that this new Speedster would be, or should be, Avery Ho, aka the Flash from China, or the Flash of China. And I think this is the most suitable choice and just adds some, some diversity to the show, especially in the ethnic side of things. And I'm sure the addition of an Asian Speedster would add some hype for many viewers and possibly even bring in some new viewers to the show, even if it is just for this episode, or if they want to, catch back up on the Flash and see what it's all about. They can go do that if they want. But overall, I don't mind a lot of these. I think they actually sound pretty cool. The 100th episode is obviously going to be a very hype episode regardless of, if you feel like the show currently. I think you'll get a lot of people that will come back just to watch this 100th episode on itself, just like a lot of people did with Arrow. There were a lot of people that might not have continued watching Arrow but came back specifically for that 100th episode just to see what they did. And I think the Flash will do that as well. At least people will come back and watch the Flash, even if they have dropped off watching it, they'll come back and watch the 100th episode. So I'm sure they'll do a lot of cool like fan favorite moments and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll see maybe not a lot of speedsters, but I'm hoping that we'll see maybe Jay Garrick back. But if these are true, then sure, bring Reverse Flash, Zoom, Savitar, whatever they want to do, just bring it all back and have a really good time. The episode doesn't have to make sense. It's a celebration, so let's just celebrate what the Flash is and just all the stuff that they've done in the past leading up to this point. Just make it awesome to watch. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below all of your various opinions on what we went over in this video. Just let me know downstairs in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.